I feel like that was the best Brandon Hogue we've ever seen.
What's going on, guys? So in today's video, I'll be going over why you cannot be your best all the time. So let's get right into it. So yeah, everybody obviously wants to try to be their best all the time. I mean, I wish I could be, right? If you were just always on your game or always feeling your best every race or every event or whatever, that'd be awesome. It'd be like cheating, right? So unfortunately for us as well, the fatigue component in fitness grows exponentially more than the actual fitness curve. So if you look at fitness, fatigue, and form being the combination of your fitness and your fatigue. So form is, I don't use it often if you're talking about like a training peaks model or something, but just talking off of basics here. If your fatigue exponentially rises to your fitness, and you want to have your fitness go as high as possible, obviously that fatigue is just going to get too much, right? To where fitness is going to take a hit, or you're going to plateau, or reach injury, overreach, whatever. So yeah, people don't understand that fatigue component with fitness. So let's go into endurance training as this example. Say you're starting out a block of training, and that first week your fitness climbs a good amount. You got a good stimulus, your body's not used to what you're giving it, but your fatigue jumps quite a bit, right? So now we have a big gap between your fitness and your fatigue. Well, going into that second week, you're obviously going to want to try to still build, but that fatigue is just going to keep rising also. So that is why all this periodization that we do matters so much. A 4-week training block, meaning we have 4 weeks of trying to build this fitness. Well, I have to keep in touch with your fatigue, making sure it's not too high, making sure that we can hit every single session with quality and maximize recovery at the same time. We can't just jump right into 4 weeks of training and expect to just go like that. The fatigue's going to be too much, and boom, you're going to end up having a week of pretty much detraining or completely off because that fatigue is so high. So yeah, it's a curve like this, right? We have to build fitness, we have to drop fatigue, build fitness, drop fatigue. When you drop fatigue, fitness does drop with it. But if you balance it, if you have proper periodization, we can maximize that. So we don't have a huge drop in fitness as we're dropping that fatigue, right? We want to have that gap just go like that. Like, it's a very, very in detail process, but that's why there's coaches out there that know what they're doing that can help you with this. So yeah, one other thing quick about peaking. So if you want to try to peak for a race, that optimization there would be dropping the fatigue almost pretty much as low as possible with the highest fitness number. That's obviously the goal in peaking, but we don't want to lose too much fitness while doing that. That's why you can't peak too many times in a season. So for motocross guys, we race 10 races out of the year. So maybe my third race in the year, I might not be what I would call in peak shape or in peak fitness for that race. I might be a little more fatigued than normal, or I might be a little less fit than normal. But this is all part of that process that we have to balance, right? Some races I'll prioritize. So if I know that we're going to a rough track and it's going to be 95 degrees, super humid, brutal motos, right? I might try to be a little bit more fresh or peaked for that type of race compared to going to something like a Gatorback for us, which was a smooth, cold temperature, pretty easily demanding track. Heart rate's lower, RPE's lower, right? So I can go in there a little bit more fatigued. So I hope that makes sense. You're always going to feel your best when we have that form overall pretty solid. So yeah, hope this helps. Unfortunately, we can't all be our best all the time. If you just train and train and trained, eventually that fatigue will catch up to you, and you'll start to regress. All the numbers will get worse, or yeah, you're just going to get sick. Getting sick 5 times a year is pretty good indicator that something ain't right. So yeah, hope this helps.